Good evening, friends. Stop for a moment and set everything else aside. Take a slow, deep breath and become aware of where you are right now. The room around you, the circumstances you're experiencing, the life unfolding before you. None of it is the only possibility. It is simply one path among countless realities you could experience. And in a moment, I'm going to reveal how you can shift onto an entirely different path. Even as you read these words, endless possibilities may exist beyond the limits of what you can currently see or understand. They are not as distant as they seem. Imagine them as realities waiting just outside your awareness, ready to be brought into focus. With the right shift in perspective and intention, you can begin moving toward a completely different version of your experience. And yet here we are, so many of us trapped inside a single loop, replaying the same patterns, getting the same results, feeling the same frustration, wondering why nothing shifts, even though we're desperate for more. Let me break something open for you. You're not stuck because of fate, destiny, or bad luck. I've lived that feeling too. We're stuck because our systems, our minds, bodies, emotions, our very frequency, are still tuned to our old timelines. You and I both know you can't break free by simply wishing for it. You can't force your way out. And you certainly can't trick the quantum field by faking it. This transformation we're after isn't about manifesting harder. It's about you and me stepping so fully, so coherently, into new states of being that the quantum field has no option but to mirror different realities back to us. I used to think, and maybe you did too, that manifestation came down purely to desire. Want something badly enough, and the universe hands it over. But let me share the truth that changed everything for me. Desire alone does nothing in the quantum field. The field doesn't care how badly we want change. It only answers to how aligned we are with the frequency of that change. Which means, even now, even doing everything right, saying your affirmations, building beautiful vision boards, running your visualizations, you might still be signaling the old timeline. I know, because I've lived it. Why does this happen? Because underneath our conscious effort, our bodies stay wired for the familiar. Our nervous systems are addicted to the old emotional loops. Our subconscious is still broadcasting fear, doubt, and scarcity, even while we're consciously insisting, I want abundance. I want love. I want success. Here's what hit me like a bolt of lightning, and I want it to hit you too. The quantum field answers to your dominant signal, not your loudest one. Breathe, and let that settle into your chest. Your dominant signal comes from your entire system's vibration, not just what you think, but what you feel, what you expect, what you embody every moment. That's why you can say, I am wealthy 1,000 times, but if your body clenches with anxiety every time you pay a bill, the field reads the clench, not the affirmation. I'm delighted to assist you with our voice services. You can visualize love all day, but if your heart stays armored, closed off from old wounds, the field reads the isolation, not the longing for connection. This is the trap I spun in for years, and maybe you have too. We assume change starts outside us, with circumstances, with actions, with results. But I've learned the quantum shift starts inside, with our state, our coherence, our alignment. You and I have to become the versions of ourselves already living in our desired timelines. Not someday, not once the evidence shows up, but right now. Here's something that blew my mind once I understood it. Quantum physics shows us that every possibility exists simultaneously in the field of potential. Every timeline, every version of you and me, every outcome we could dream up, they're all already humming in the quantum field. When we shift our vibration, we're not creating something out of nothing. We're collapsing into versions that have been waiting for us all along. I'm fascinated by how visionaries and inventors throughout history seem to grasp this intuitively. Remember Tesla's words. If you only knew the magnificence of 3, 6, and 9, you would have a key to the universe. These aren't magic tricks. They point to universal patterns, harmonics, the deep truth that reality organizes itself around vibration. So I had to ask myself, and now I'm asking you, the real question isn't, how do I get what I want? It's, who do I need to become, vibrationally, to align with the timeline where what I desire already exists. And becoming isn't pretending. It's not faking it till you make it. It's not a performance. Becoming is a full body, full soul shift into coherence, one you and I can feel in every cell. This is where our quantum shift begins. You're not here to fight your old timeline. You're here to rise into the frequency of your new one. Now let's talk honestly about why people don't shift. It's not laziness. It's not because they don't want change badly enough. And it's definitely not because they're doing manifestation wrong. It's because they're still entangled with the version of themselves wired to survive the old timeline. That version, outdated as it is familiar, and the subconscious loves familiar more than it loves progress. The old timeline doesn't need your permission to keep running. It just needs your participation. Every time you react the same way, tell the same story, expect the same outcome, you reinforce the signal. It's like a well-worn path in the brain. The more you walk it, the deeper it carves. Eventually it becomes automatic. You stop choosing your timeline. It starts choosing you. Here's where quantum physics and neuroscience intersect in a way most people overlook. In quantum mechanics, the observer effect tells us that observation collapses a wave of infinite potential into a single event, a particle, a choice, a reality. But here's the twist. You're not just observing reality with your eyes. You're observing it through your beliefs, your emotions, your expectations. Add to this a neuroscience insight. Roughly 95% of your behavior runs on subconscious programming, storing all your emotional conditioning, trauma, beliefs, identity patterns, which means most of the time it isn't your conscious intention collapsing the wave, it's your subconscious programming. Let that sink in. You're trying to manifest from the 5% of you that's awake and aware, while the other 95% is still tuned to fear, lack, distrust, survival. And the quantum field responds to the dominant signal. So when people say manifestation doesn't work, what they really mean is, I haven't yet shifted the internal observer collapsing my reality. This is why people loop. This is why you can change your job, your partner, your city, and still find yourself stuck in the same emotional patterns. Because nothing external can override an internal frequency that hasn't actually changed. What keeps you anchored to the old timeline? Usually resistance. And resistance is sneaky. It shows up as overthinking, procrastination, emotional numbness, hyperproductivity, fear dressed up as logic, that voice saying, just be realistic. But resistance always comes down to one thing. Your system believes it's safer to stay put, even somewhere you hate, than to leap into the unknown. And that belief lives in the body. Stored trauma, suppressed emotion, inherited fear, all coded into your nervous system. That's why you can understand something intellectually and still not be able to live it. That's why affirmations fall flat, visualizations fade, and you keep slipping back into old cycles. The resistance isn't in your mindset, it's in your chemistry. When your nervous system is dysregulated, it broadcasts a signal of threat to the field, even as your mouth says, I'm ready. That contradiction keeps collapsing the same limited outcomes over and over. It's not personal, it's physics. Tesla once said, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. That wasn't metaphor, it was literal. Your life is a frequency, Your thoughts, emotions, posture, breath, all of it creates a vibrational pattern that either aligns with your desired timeline or repels it. You're not just a person navigating a life. You're a frequency generator embedded in a responsive field. And you've been broadcasting the same pattern for so long, you've mistaken it for who you are. But here's the freeing truth. You don't have to fight that pattern. You just have to stop feeding it. Shifting timelines isn't about forcing the quantum field to bend to your will. It's about aligning so completely with the version of you already living your desired reality that the old timeline simply can't hold you anymore. Picture the quantum field as a vast ocean of possibility. Every timeline, every version of you, every possible outcome already exists in that ocean as a wave. When you focus, observe, align, you collapse a particular wave into form. But here's the key. You don't collapse the wave by wanting it. You collapse it by matching it. And matching isn't purely mental. It's emotional, physical, vibrational. It's how your whole system hums when you're in coherence. So why do people struggle to match the new timeline? Because they try to get there by thinking about it. They intellectualize the shift. I know abundance is available. I know love is possible. I know I can heal. But knowing isn't enough. Your body needs to know. Your emotions need to know. Your breath, your posture, your habits, your identity, all of it needs to signal, I am now the version of me who belongs in this timeline. This is where embodiment comes in. Embodiment isn't a buzzword. It's the missing piece. It's the practice of inhabiting the frequency you want before the outer world grants permission. If you're shifting toward an abundance timeline, embodiment might mean spending money from trust instead of panic, breathing through the fear of not enough when it rises, meeting opportunities with openness instead of bracing for disappointment. If you're shifting toward a love timeline, embodiment might mean softening your heart when you want to shut down, taking emotional risks, practicing vulnerability even when old wounds tell you to hide. You don't wait for the timeline to shift before living differently. You start living differently, and the timeline shifts. This is why so many manifestation efforts collapse. They're conditional. I'll feel grateful once I get the job. I'll relax once I find the relationship. I'll feel abundant once the money shows up. But the quantum doesn't operate that way. The field isn't testing you or punishing you. It's reflecting you. And that reflection happens instantly, not after some delay. The real work becomes, can you become coherent? Can you bring your mind, heart, body, and actions into alignment, even before anything external has changed? Can you hold the signal long enough for the wave to collapse? Because here's the paradox nobody talks about. The timeline doesn't shift when you get tired of waiting. It shifts when waiting stops being part of your frequency at all. The only practice that matters is the one you actually live. We live in an era where it's easy to consume knowledge, gather techniques, watch videos, and never actually integrate any of it. Why? Because consuming feels like progress. But progress only happens once the body, the breath, the actions start matching the information. So here's how we bring this quantum shift into daily life. First, understand the principle of micro-alignment. Most people assume shifting timelines requires massive, dramatic overhauls. But quantum reality responds to coherence, not size. A small act done with pure, aligned intention can carry more vibrational weight than a huge, frantic gesture born of desperation. Shifting toward abundance? Your practice might be breathing deeply when scarcity thoughts arise, feeling genuine gratitude for small resources, spending money with presence and trust rather than panic. Shifting toward love? Your practice might be opening your posture when you want to shrink, speaking words of affection even when vulnerability feels uncomfortable. These small acts are quantum keys. They tell the field, this is who I am now, not who I'm hoping to become someday, but who I've decided to be today. But here's the part most people miss. The practice isn't about perfection. It's about returning. You'll wobble. You'll slip back into old loops. You'll catch yourself thinking, feeling, or acting from the old timeline. That doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're alive. The power isn't in never slipping. The power is in how quickly you return. Every time you notice yourself sliding into the old frequency and gently guide yourself back, you strengthen the new timeline. Every time you pause, breathe, and choose coherence over chaos, you reinforce the shift. Every time you act as though the new reality is already true, even before the outer world has caught up, you collapse the wave. This is the dance of quantum embodiment. I learned it the hard way, and I'd like to spare you the trouble. The quantum field doesn't care if we visit our new timeline once. It only reorganizes around us once we live there. I used to approach manifestation as a single event. Maybe you have too. We visualize, affirm, journal, wait. And when results don't appear instantly, we collapse right back into our old frequency. For the longest time, I didn't realize the real magic, the real transformation, happens in the staying. Sustainability is the master key to the quantum shift. Let me be honest with you. This doesn't mean forcing yourself to feel good all the time. It doesn't mean ignoring hardship or pretending you're high vibe while going through hell. It means building the emotional and energetic capacity to return again and again to alignment. Every wobble, followed by a return, strengthens your signal. Every time you notice an old loop pulling at you and gently choose your new timeline instead, you reinforce the shift. Every time you act, speak, breathe, and choose as though you already live in your desired state, your old timeline loosens its grip on you a little more. This isn't punishment. This is mastery. You're learning to become the quantum signal that collapses the wave, not occasionally, not when convenient, but as a way of life. Let me share the roadmap that changed everything for me. First, daily awareness. I don't start my day with a to-do list. I start with a tuning. Ask yourself, as I do, what frequency am I bringing into today? Am I carrying fear or trust? Am I expecting struggle or flow? Set your intention before your feet even hit the floor. Second, embodied action. Throughout the day, practice micro-alignment. Notice when your actions match your desired timeline and when they don't. Want abundance? Are you acting generously or from scarcity? Want love? Are you opening up or armoring yourself? I've found small repeated shifts matter far more than occasional grand gestures. Third, emotional regulation. You and I will get triggered. We'll fall into doubt. We're human. The power isn't in avoiding this. It's in the return. Breathe, ground yourself. Reconnect with the version of you who already knows. This is who I am now. Fourth, gratitude. This one changed my life. Genuine gratitude signals to the quantum field, I am aligned, I am receptive, I am whole. It amplifies your field's coherence and speeds the collapse of your desired timeline. Remember, you're not doing this to get somewhere. You're doing this because this is the somewhere you already are. You're not chasing your timeline. You're becoming it. Let me tell you something. You are not the same person who began listening to these words. You're vibrating just slightly differently now.